Program Director, His Majesty King Misizulu Kazwelithini, Deputy Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, Mr. Thabang Makwetla, Chief of the South African National Defence Force, General Rudzani Maphanya, Acting Secretary for Defense, Dr. Thobekile Gamede, the Plenary Defense Staff Council, Generals, Admirals, officers, warrant officers, non-commissioned officers, soldiers, sailors, airmen, and women on parade, chiefs of the Defense Force from our neighboring countries who have visited us, chiefs of the Navy from other countries who have also visited us, guests and ladies and gentlemen, and former chiefs of the South African National Defence Force, such as General Shokwe, who is here with us, fellow South Africans. I am indeed honored to be addressing you on this very special day here in Richards Bay. Every year we observe the Armed Forces Day to recognize and to celebrate the immense contribution that is made by the members of our armed forces in creating a better life for the people of South Africa and for the people of our region, SADC, and of course our beloved continent, Africa. On this day, we remember and pay tribute to all our fallen men and women in uniform who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Among these, we remember those who tragically lost their lives when the SS Mendi sank on this day 106 years ago in the English Channel during the First World War. As we mark this day, we appreciate that our armed forces are continuing the pursuit of the ideal for which their departed predecessors lived for. They have picked up the spears of our fallen heroes and heroines and continue the effort to give our people lasting peace, security, and stability. As the Commander-in-Chief, I commend the good work you are all doing as men and women in the uniform of our country. As we gather to honor the serving members of our armed forces, those who have served in the past and those who have fallen over the years, we are reminded that we stand on the shoulders of patriots such as Reverend Isaac Wokop Joba, who, when confronted with the death aboard the SS Mendi, led his countrymen in song, even as death was descending upon them. We are inspired by their bravery as we stand here in the face of grave challenges confronting our society. We are determined to emerge triumphant from the struggle against poverty, inequality, unemployment, gender-based violence, crime, disease, and deprivation. While our armed forces are always on guard to defend our hard-earned sovereignty and constitutional democracy, as well as our constitutional order, they do much more than just that. They actively contribute to the social and economic development of our country. They are to be found on rescue missions in times of disaster. They are to be found rebuilding and building bridges. Where a desperate need exists, they are found. And they are also to be found rehabilitating our rivers from the effects of pollution. They have time and time again shown that they are a force for good, and they are an integral part of all progressive humanity. I wish to pay tribute to all members of our armed forces who, at great risk to their own lives, work tirelessly to help maintain law and order in times of crisis. I commend the highest level of discipline with which they discharge their duties under very difficult conditions. By virtue of their calling, as well as their allegiance to our Constitution, they act without hesitation whenever they are called upon to do so. They act without hesitation when their country needs them most. I salute you all who carry out tasks in time of disaster that literally stand between life and death. We commend the exemplary selflessness, self-sacrifice, and patriotism of our armed forces who, even in the face of great danger, always put the interests of the country first. Always put the interests of South Africans first. From North Africa to Southern Africa, from the Sahel region and the west part of our continent to the Horn of Africa on the east part of our continent, and the Great Lakes region in the central part of our continent, South Africa depends on the South African National Defence Force to support peace building on the continent as part of a mandate from the African Union and the United Nations. We extend our appreciation and respect to our forces deployed in various missions across our beautiful continent, Africa. We mourn all those who have lost their lives in the effort to silence the guns on our continent. Just 2 weeks ago, we lost Flight Sergeant Vusi Mabena when his helicopter came under attack in eastern DRC. We extend our deepest sympathies and condolences to his family, his friends, and his colleagues. He is not alone. And this morning, we've just given posthumous medals to the families of others who have also departed. Unlike the apartheid-era South African Defence Force, the Democratic South African National Defence Force is committed to forging peace and supporting development. The primary function of the SANDF is to protect the territorial integrity of our nation's borders. It is a tough task. We read of their successes every month, almost every week, as they confront illegal migration and international crime syndicates working hand in hand with our nation's law enforcement agencies as part of the long-running Operation Corona. Our soldiers are there to stand guard in times of crisis within our borders, and they did so resolutely during Operation Prosper. Now the South African National Defence Force is guarding vital infrastructure against those who would endanger the security of the state to advance their own personal interests. We have deployed them in vital areas where we have our infrastructure, for instance in Eskom and in various other parts, water systems and so forth. We called on the South African National Defence Force during the initial phases of COVID-19. It was a vital part of our response to the pandemic through Operation Notlela. This included the work of the South African Military Health Service, which provided support to our public health response to COVID-19. It is therefore wonderful to witness the launch of Project Owetu to coincide with this year's Armed Forces Day. Through Project Owetu, the South African National Defence Force is working with government departments to provide access to healthcare and other social services in communities in KwaZulu-Natal that are remote and marginalized. Project Owetu can be a great catalyst and a great help for change through empowering communities, giving communities the capabilities and the help and the wherewithal to improve people's lives. The South African National Defence Force is no stranger to the people of KwaZulu-Natal. Its members have been serving in this province since the devastating floods of last year. And I'm really delighted that we have in our midst the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal. We also have in our midst the District Mayor, as well as the local municipality mayor, who are part of these celebrations. And when I talk about the role that the SANDF has played in this province, Premier Nomusa Dube-Ncube knows exactly well how the SANDF has come to the assistance of the people of our province here. Most of these members of the SA Army Engineer Corps and medical practitioners from the South African Military Health Service, they have helped to build bridges, they have helped to fix roads, and have also delivered purified water when water systems have been broken down by floods. With the confidence and the faith we have in the capabilities of our armed forces, we are reassured as a people that no matter the circumstances, the South African National Defence Force will always be there to restore order, to maintain calm, support our people, and defend the military uniform on Armed Forces Day, and we thank them for their courageous and tireless service. Yes, as the preacher was talking earlier, it is our clear intent as the government of the Republic of South Africa to look after our men and women in uniform, to care for them, to make sure that they have the wherewithal to continue defending the people of South Africa with all their capabilities. We're also very proud and pleased to have members of Parliament here with us and members of the Provincial Council here with us, legislature with us. And this is an important day. Armed Forces Day is a day in which we celebrate those who are prepared to fight, to defend, and to lay down their lives for the sake of peace in our country. May God continue to bless South Africa, and may God continue to protect South Africa